These are things that I have learned through supporting not just Adrian, even though it's mainly mainly Adrian, but through supporting other people in my life who have mental health struggles. Here are the three things that I have learned about how you can best support the people in your life that are going through mental health struggles. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Transformation Talks. It's just Andrew today. Adrian took the day off. Just kidding. He's probably in his room sleeping or something. Well, Adrian gave his mini episode talking about mental health. For my mini episode, I really thought that I would follow suit on that. I initially was going to talk about something else, but I felt really called for this episode to talk about mental health as well, but from a different perspective. I think that oftentimes we have a lot of resources available for folks who are going through active mental health struggles, whether it be with depression, anxiety, OCD, bipolar disorder, you name it. But there aren't a whole lot of resources or open discussions about folks who help see others through their mental health struggles. And just getting personal here for a second, growing up with Adrian, you know, being his roommates and being his twin brother and his frequent collaborator, I have seen Adrian personally go through a whole variety of struggles with mental health, whether it was with his OCD or his depression or his anxiety. I have learned a lot of things from being the person that helps him get through these things. And that's not to say that I don't have anything myself. I have anxiety, putting that out there right now. And so I definitely have mental health struggles of my own, but uh, I've really come to learn a lot of things from seeing Adrian go through the struggles that he has been, and me being the support system for a lot of those things. And so for today's episode, I just really want to get real with y'all and share three lessons that I have learned through being the support system for someone who may be dealing with, multiple, um, you know, situations of mental health, whether it be more than one diagnosis or it could be one diagnosis, but it's, a very serious mental illness that they have. These are things that I have learned through supporting not just Adrian, even though, it's mainly, mainly Adrian, but through supporting other people in my life who have mental health struggles. Here are the three things that I have learned about how you can best support the people in your life that are going through mental health struggles, but also, and you'll see this when I share the third lesson, but also how to make sure you're looking out for yourself as well in the process. So, the first lesson I want to get into here is listen, don't judge. And initially, I had this as just listen because I thought, okay, well, obviously, you just want, especially when someone is sharing with you the things that they were going through, you want to just listen. But I added that second part, don't judge, because it is, I feel, especially in today's world, it is so easy to, stand on the mountaintop and to think, oh, well, you just got to be stronger, or you just can't let things get to you, or, you know, go outside and get some fresh air. That'll do it. And to my shame, that was the way that I thought for a long time. That you know, if this person would just do what I do, then they will not be as sad, or they won't be as anxious. And especially when I started looking into my own mental health journey and going through the things that I was dealing with, I that was for me when I really kind of got humbled and realized, oh, okay, so maybe it's not that easy to do XYZ thing that helped me, or maybe what worked for me wouldn't necessarily work for this other person. And so going through my own mental health journey and seeing my brother and seeing other folks going through their own mental health journey, it really did make me realize, first off, like, shut up. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their life experience is, and you have to understand that What works for you may not work for them in the same way what works for them may not work for you. And especially in these moments when you are sitting down with somebody and they're being vulnerable and they're sharing really, really difficult things with you. You don't even have to solve their problem oftentimes, unless they say, I want you, well, like, what's your advice? How do I get through this? Oftentimes, what they want is they just want you to listen. And more importantly, to listen and not judge their situation. Just be that listening ear, that shoulder to cry on, that listening ear for them as they share whatever it is. It could be a rant, it could be, I just had a really hard day today. Could be good news too. It could be I just had a really, really great day and I just want to share this with you. Listen, don't judge. Just by being that listening ear, you may think I have to take a more active part in things. You don't. You really don't. Just by being that listening ear, that comforting presence, that goes a long way. Now, if you do feel that you have to offer something, this kind of leads into my second point, which is to give affirmation, especially for folks who are dealing with mental health struggles. There can be a lot of instances where they think, am I truly going through this? Like, they start psyching themselves out. They start thinking, they start trying to talk themselves out of it and thinking like, oh, am I actually going through this? Is this real? It is. The short answer is it is. It is. And especially if they've gone to a mental health professional already and they've gotten the formal diagnosis and it's, been an ongoing thing between them and a mental health professional, you, especially who don't live in their head, you can rest assured that what they have is real. And that the thing that they have can take many different forms on many different days. I've had days where, just speaking from my own personal experience, where I'm talking with Adrian and there's something that upsets him that normally wouldn't. And I remember, getting really, really upset, thinking like, oh, okay, so I guess he's just being a jerk today. And it was through, continuing to talk with him and continuing seeing him going through his mental health struggles that I really came to realize that his reaction to me had nothing to do with me at all. That oftentimes if I dug deeper and I allowed him the space and the room to talk, that 9 times out of 10 I would find out that that reaction came from a state of irritability or a very strong anxious state or just a very depressive mood that he was in, or just an instance where his OCD was very, very strong, and anything that wasn't perfect would cause irritability. That would cause any little thing to bother him, even if for me it wouldn't cause me to be bothered. It would cause him to be bothered as a result. So especially in these instances, you have to trust that that individual knows their mind, knows their life better than you. They're not asking you to solve their problem. Oftentimes, they just want affirmation. The simple, that sucks. That sucks. I understand that it was tough to share this. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Yeah, that sucks. And oftentimes, that is it. That is it. Like that is literally the thing that Adrian needs to hear most times, and for him, he feels supported. Simply in affirming what he is either going through or had gone through, that is it. And so yeah, listen, don't judge, give affirmation. Those are oftentimes the strongest way that you can show up for someone in your life that's going through a mental health struggle. And take it from personal experience. If they want more from you, if they want you to provide support in other ways, oftentimes they will ask. They will tell you exactly what they need. But just being that constant support, that non judgmental support, it goes such a long way. Now, the third point that I want to bring up, and this is a little separate, this is a bit of self care. And this is something that I've also realized through helping Adrian and other folks, uh, is to don't lesson number three, don't ignore your own boundaries and mental health. And especially for the folks who are listening who feel the need to look after and care for everybody in their lives, I am talking to you, because coming from personal experience, it can be so easy to feel that you have to fix everyone's problems for them, that you have to look out for everybody, that you have to take everybody's issues and make it your own to get involved in. That can be a recipe for disaster, because if you keep pouring into other people's cups and you don't refill your own, that leads to burnout, that leads to problems in your life getting worse. Sometimes caring for yourself is the best way you can care for others. And that was a lesson that took me a hot second to learn, that you can't ignore your own mental health issues. You can't ignore your own boundaries. Sometimes there will be days when a friend or your twin brother will be going through things and you don't have the capacity to help them in that instance, on that day, in that moment. I'm telling you right now, don't feel guilty. Don't be made to feel guilty, whether it's by your own hand or someone else's. Don't be made to feel guilty because you are looking out for yourself. Now, there are certain things that you can say, such as, I'm sorry that you're going through these things. I am actually having a pretty rough day myself. If I could just have some space to process what I'm going through, I would love to have a talk with you about what you're going through tonight, tomorrow morning, and say it that way, because I know the tendency is going to be there to say, you know, I'm sorry I can't be there for you. Don't say that, because then you're being made to feel sorry for your own emotions, which are things that you can't control, or for an instance or situation that's happened to your life, which is something you can't control. And especially if you say it that way, that I'm going through something of my own right now. I I I need space in this present moment in time, but I would still love to talk with you about this tonight, tomorrow morning, when I have the capacity to listen or to help. You are not shutting that person down. You are not, not being there for that person. You are not ignoring their issue. You are hearing them. You are acknowledging what they're going through. But at the same time, you are creating capacity and space for what you are going through. And that can be a way that you still show up for the other person, but you also show up for yourself. And those moments will come where you just don't have the inner space to help others. And that's okay. Looking out for yourself is one of the best ways that you can look out for others, because you're a human being too. You are going to have these moments where you need to look out for yourself, and that's 100% okay. So, to recap here, the three lessons that I have learned in helping others with their own mental health struggles. Number one, listen, don't judge. Two, give affirmation. And 3, don't ignore your own boundaries and mental health. Now, I do want to throw the disclaimer, I am not a mental health professional. I am just someone who happens to have mental health issues of their own and has helped others through mental health issues as well. So, you know, obviously, I'm not going to know all the answers and I'm not going to know everything there is to know about this space. I can only speak from personal experience and ways that I've helped others get through their own struggles. And so, hopefully, y'all took something away from this that you find useful or helpful, whether it is in assisting others or creating better capacity for yourself. And understand that at the end of the day, we all got things going on. Life has its good days and life has its bad days. And I hope that through these 3 tips that folks can be encouraged to show up for one another in a kinder fashion, but also to show up for yourself in a kinder fashion as well. And I think that if we all did that, that really would help make the world a kinder place, a more understanding place, and a more self-affirming place as well. So with that, that marks the end, the conclusion of my mini episode. Thank you all for listening. Greatly appreciate the support that y'all show our podcast, and we really do appreciate all the messages that we have gotten since starting this podcast, the messages of support, the messages that we have gotten in as to how you all have listened to this episode, whether it's, after putting your kid to bed or on your commute to work. We love getting those messages, and that truly means a lot to us. And so thank you all for listening. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Transformation Talks. We hope this podcast has brought you insightful conversations, laughter, and a deeper understanding of the human experience. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving a review and sharing it with your friends, family, and fellow truth seekers. Remember, it's okay to be real, to be imperfect, and to navigate the messy and beautiful journey of life. So thank you for joining us on this incredible journey, and until next time, remember that you have the power to transform your world. Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody.